right, guys, well, I hope you've got some tissues ready because Ori and the Will of the Wisps is an emotional roller coaster.
Ori and the Will of the Wisps is the long-awaited follow-up to the excellent 2015 platforming adventure, Ori and the Blind Forest, which was awarded a perfect score by Barjo and Hex.
Yes, and just like the first game, this is a treat for the eyes, the ears, and the soul. The art and sound design is just so good. Not to mention some of the tightest platforming and best level design in the business.
And there's some simple but powerful storytelling here that will give you all of the feels. This picks up after the first game, where we find our hero Ori and friends trying to help the young owl Ku learn to fly. And I mean, Ori is a cute character, but Ku and the two of them together? Oh, my heart.
Now, we won't spoil any of the story except to say that Ku does learn to fly.
They all live happily ever after, and nothing bad ever happens to them ever. The end.
Negative, that's not what happens. Ku and Ori crash in a dark forest and get separated.
Oh, I know. Thanks for reminding me, Darren.
You're welcome.
So yeah, Ori sets off on an adventure to reunite with Ku, but we'll leave the story there. Like the first game, Will of the Wisps is what's known as a Metroidvania-style platformer, where there's a big world to explore, with areas that you can only access as you gain the right skills or powers.
There were a few times I got a bit lost and ended up wandering around in circles, unsure of where to go next, which can be frustrating.
Yeah, but it is also kind of a feature of Metroidvanias, and the world is so pretty and satisfying to explore.
True. And there were always new little areas and secrets I could get to as I backtracked, so it was never wasted time, and I was never lost for long. Overall, they did a masterful job of leading you through the world and are constantly giving you new powers and things to play with.
Oh, in terms of new things to play with, combat plays a much bigger role this time. Ori now gets access to a whole arsenal of magical weapons such as swords, hammers, bows, and more. As well as abilities such as healing or casting an aura of light. You can assign any 3 of these to use at any one time, and easily swap between them to customize your style on the fly. There are also a wide range of spirit shards, which you can equip to further customize your play style. These can provide various bonuses, such as improved damage resistance, the ability to cling to walls, or can even make combat harder in return for extra rewards.
I kind of feel like there were maybe too many powers though. I ended up sticking to a couple of basic ones and barely touched the rest. Plus, some of them chew up your energy, so I kind of didn't like to use those.
Having too much choice is a pretty good problem to have, though, especially if you like doing multiple playthroughs and trying different things. My only real complaint with the combat, though, was that it can get a bit messy. It's easy to lose yourself in the fray when things get hectic.
Yeah, I think there's an art to keeping your distance and staying out of the mess. And I can definitely see plenty of room to combine your abilities for some skillful play. I mean, I personally didn't. I just spammed my way through the fights, but you could.
I did like that you could just run past most enemies if you want. Though you do get Spirit Light for defeating them, which can be spent with a range of new merchants to buy things like new skills, upgrades, or even maps. So you will want to fight a bit, because who doesn't want those sweet upgrades?
One thing you can't run past, however, are the big boss battles.
Oh, yeah. These were surprisingly tough, but satisfying, with fast and tricky attack patterns to learn and master.
Although, can I just say, there's a whole spider area with a big spider boss, and I hate it. Think of something new.
It was a little bit creepy. In fact, there are some genuinely creepy moments and scary creatures here.
Another new feature is the Spirit Trials. These are essentially mini speedrunning challenges scattered throughout the world, which offer big Spirit-like rewards and a chance to show off on global leaderboards.
I kind of ignored them after I tried the first one, to be honest. I'm not really into Ori to get competitive. But they're solid little time trials that will put all your skills to the test. So if you're into that kind of thing, it's nice they're there.
Outside of that, another big change is the save system. In the first game, you had to manually create checkpoints, but that's gone now. Instead, there's simply automatic checkpoints, which are quite generous, so you're never sent back very far for making a mistake.
And you'll make a lot of them.
Noobs beware!
Indeed. You'll need to bring your platforming A-game to the table here, especially in those tricky escape sequences.
But once you've mastered the controls, there's almost no other game out there that makes movement feel so fluid, graceful, and satisfying.
Now, I've always been honest that I'm not the best at platformers, so I was really excited to see a difficulty setting at the start of the game.
It makes it so you take a lot less damage, which means you can get away with heaps more mistakes before you die. The platform placement doesn't change, so it can still be tricky, but it's much more forgiving.
Yeah, I have a lot of respect and enjoyment for the technical and gameplay side of things, but for me, it is all about the characters and the story. There are some really powerful themes about friendship, family, and the environment that they play with here that just really hit home hard, especially thanks to the amazing art and music. I legit needed a few minutes to pull myself together, and that's a rare and wonderful thing for a game to do. So I'm giving Ori and the Will of the Wisps 5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Oh, there is so much to love here, and any complaints I have are really just nitpicks. It's beautifully and lovingly crafted. How could I not give it 5 out of 5 rubber chickens as well?
Brings a tear to the eye.
Darren, do you cry?
Negative.